Hello everybody and a warm welcome back to Cockpit Drivers Championship. My name is Zappy and we are back with another round as we are here at round 5 of the Las Vegas Street Circuit here on the streets of Vegas for the Las Vegas GP. As we're about to get underway, we're also in for our very first sprint weekend here at Cockpit Drivers Championship. It's going to be at Vegas, so there's going to be no qualifying. It'll be 9 laps of the sprint and 25 laps of the main race, but the grid will be set up of the championship. The sprint grid will be the reverse grid of the Drivers' Championship. However it is, if you're P1 in the championship, you're going to be starting in last place. Let's have a look at the championship then. It is Simpish who still leads despite not so a good race last time out, with 61 points. Felix in P2 at 58. So these are going to be the bottom two of this one. Then it's going to be Commander X in P3, 53 points, just 3 ahead of Scooter, who's on 50. He is also just 2 ahead of Reaper, is in 5th place on 48. 18 for Speeder, 12 for Dre, and 12 for Feruki, along with Seppi, who's got 8. Then it is Uzlara's got 2. Then Fezel and Zaza have got 0 points. So if these two are to be racing tonight, they're going to be on pole position. Then it's in the team standings. It is GSW with 106 points, followed by DRD with 61. Then LRT, it's 53. Then 54 OGM with KCT on 20. ERP and BRT following each other on 12 points each, with AMR on 8 and SMW on no points at all. That's pretty much going to be the case. Who do you think will be taking the crown here in this sprint race, ladies and gentlemen? Moving forward, I think it's a good opportunity for us to get a mixed grid. Also for, sometimes we see drivers who are probably good race drivers, who are probably very good in races and, overall endurance speed, but not so, let's say, not so good of a qualifier. So an opportunity is a good one for them, and I think also for those who would be starting at the bottom usually would just have an opportunity, even for getting not so good of a qualifying from them. It'll be, and basically get on. As we're now waiting, we've got 10 drivers, and that's all we will have. So our racing will start. Reverse grid for the sprint of the championship, and then the result from the sprint would be the grid for the main race, as we are underway here at Las Vegas, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you're going to be getting some great racing action out there with our great of our drivers to give us the action. Vegas has got some huge straight. And opportunity for overtakes and so on. Who do you think will be winning this one? Will it be Simpish? Will it be Felix, Commander X, Reaper, or even somebody else from the other part of the ground? As it could be anything out there. You know that it is going to be pretty not difficult, but then those who've got the opportunity to start from the front will definitely make it okay. So it is gonna be on, and you'll have the opportunity. Rather, drivers will have the opportunity to make the time the best, to make the performance matter here tonight in Vegas. We're halfway through the season as well, so we're here in Vegas, considering, remember, it's nobody's going to be starting, hopefully, we're hoping for that, before they, please don't leave the lobby, okay. It is about, it's going to be on, as we're already on with the cars out now on track, as I hope the audio is coming. I believe it's coming out there of the game audio. So now we're on. It's going to be Uzlara who's at the top, which is interesting. I believe that's because the bottom two in that championship are not here. So that's Seppi, who's in P2, followed by Ferrucchi in P3 for the sprint race. Dree is in P4, Speeder is in P5, followed by Reaper in P6, Scooter in P7, Rex in P8, with Felix in P9, and then Simpish in P10. So those are the top three in the championship, or the bottom three in this race right here. So all is now ready and drivers are on the track to get going. It was said, please do not start right away, but I guess we did start right away, it looks like, so maybe. But let's let's forget that. We can't really do much about it. So now looking at drivers and moving to details. 9 laps of the racing, 9 laps of the sprint here around Vegas, and it's going to be medium compound tire on every single car, apart from one with Commander X in it. And he eventually has decided to be on a set of soft compound tire, which is interesting choice. 9 laps, I think medium would have been the best. Also, 9 laps right now and 25 laps later on, which, if these medium tires are all able to hold up to 9 to 10 laps easily, let's say 9 laps they're doing right now, later on they could probably do 10 to even 12 laps during the Grand Prix, so they could easily make it work as a one-stop race, because a lot of the times such things could feel like, 25 lap race, it's not a lot, so it would rather feel that they'd be able to do it pretty easy. That's what I think so, at least, with everybody on the medium tire. The tire deficit wouldn't be a case as well. I think Commander X, what he's trying to do here is to have the opportunity to gain those couple of positions at the start. Meanwhile, 2 drivers who have been disqualified out of this formation lap would be Dre, and Speeder at the start, and now along with Seppi, everybody in the top 5 apart from Muslara is disqualified, along with Scooter. So the tires will be cold as driving on ice. It's going to be 5 red lights. The lights are out. And they're not just yet. There's going to be a drive-through penalty for Scooter for jumping the start. A decent start for Ruslara, a decent start for Ferrucchi as well. Meanwhile, Drees on it around the outside. Arpolsit is heading towards the wall straight away. Nearly keeps out of it. Out there, 5 lights. When the lights were held for a little bit longer, so it was a delayed start, and that was a reason drivers got a bit of a jump start out there, while Felix is already heading towards towards P4 and now into P3, nearly into the right end. He'll take it, or rather he will take it, as 2 of the drivers are out of the Grand Prix already, with Dree and Uslara out of the sprint here at Vegas. We started it with 10 drivers and we're left with 8, only within a couple of corners, not even laps. That is an interesting thing out here, that. It's not a problem, but definitely it was a problem for the drivers, you'd say, and that is it. As somebody says that they could be getting those screenshots, and Felix, who started it down in P10 or P9, is already into P2, while Simpish is in P3 as well. He's trying to make his move. He's trying to make up a move on Scooter to get ahead of him. He can't quite do that. And only 9 laps of racing in the sprint, so they know, this is pretty crucial, and the laps are going to be pretty easy. Obviously, no pit stop for 9 laps of racing, so now it is all going to be on while we see a driver in the pits, and that's going to be Scooter, who's coming into the pit lane to get himself a change of front wing. And what just happened there? What just happened? Speeder's now retired as well, and Simpish right into the back of Scooter he went. I mean, we are in a sprint, I know, but it's not a 2 or a 3 lap sprint, it's 9 laps. They can't even be a little bit patient there. I'm sure Simpish probably into the pit entry would have been a little bit too fast, but he had to make sure there was a car ahead of him. And that has resulted in him going into the back of the start, and I think this is sprint, but as Simpish straight went into the back of Scooter, and sure, there might not be any physical damage on Scooter's car, but I'd assume they would have a bit of rear wing, or rather the rear diffuser damage on his car, and by the looks of it, Ferrucchi has had a puncture on his car. Ooh, he's going to spun round, and that's going to be him spun round without a front wing and a puncture on those tyres. Well, Felix is already 8.6 seconds ahead with Seppi in P2, and now he's going to be in a bit of trouble with Commander X behind him. Rex starting on those soft tyres might have been a decent choice, at least for the moment, as most of the drivers are just struggling to keep it even, keep it out of the wall. As 10 started, we've already lost 4 within 3 laps, and if that's to be the ratio, that's not good at all for a 25 lap race coming up ahead. But I'd assume and I'd hope drivers would be a lot more careful, a lot more caretaking moving forward into the main race. That's what, at least what one could hope for, moving forward and looking for it soon. And now Ferrucchi is retired as well. This has to be some crazy start. Within 3 laps, half the grid is out of this one there. You'd only hope that they'll be, able to get on. They'll be able to possibly have a decent race at least. I think it's interesting on what kind of a sprint we're really having here, because it is out and about with Felix, Seppi, Commander X, Scooter, and Reaper, the only drivers now remaining, and the gap, which is the least between drivers, has to be 1.3 seconds between Commander X and Seppi. And looking at penalty details, it's 10 seconds to Reaper and 10 seconds to Commander X as well. This is absolutely chaotic with Ferrucchi, Simpish, Speeder, Ruslara, Dree, all of them out within 3 laps. And are we about to see an overtake? Yes, we are going to be about to. We are about to witness a little bit of an overtake while we're focused on Commander X moving ahead. It was Scooter right behind him who'd be looking to make a move. He nearly puts him in the wall as well. He was trying to go around the outside, but now heading towards stand 1. He's going to prefer the inside line. He's going to get past him, swoop past Commander into P3. Scooter being P3 in the championship, I'm sure he's going to be moving forward and looking to at least make a ground for himself in a race where only 4-5 drivers are remaining. So everybody wants to make. Sorry, Scooter is in 4th place, not in 3rd. 3rd is Commander X. So these guys are going to be fighting each other for, let's say, they're separated by 3 points in the championship. So it's only right they fight each other as well. But now, I think Scooter pitted, remember. Scooter pitted. So that is going to be interesting because I believe he pitted. I'd have to check if he has or not, but... Alright, he didn't gap. Oh, Reaper did then. So that would mean that Reaper was the one... that's if it went into, or I'd say he didn't pay. He didn't pay for the tires, but he paid it for that penalty. He went in to pay that drive-through penalty, which I believe he would have got. He would have got off that jumping the start at the start of the Grand Prix, where the lights were held for a little bit too long. As there's going to be a chance for him once more to get a move on Seppi, and he will get the move on Seppi way before the braking zone. Will Seppi come back at him? Ooh, that was for a moment I thought he's going to take him out there, because from no angle, it wasn't looking like that he wasn't going to go for it, because he got overtaken around the outside and he moved to the inside line. I thought he was going to challenge it, but obviously, well done to him, at least to not go for it there, because, as I said, sure, it's a sprint, but 9 laps are still decent enough for them to drive carefully, for them to take care of the tire, take care of the car, take care of themselves, but then others around as well, as it is. To finish first you have to finish. So if you're not even going to finish, how are you going to finish first? It's out and about, understanding that simple rule, which obviously these guys are racing now 5 rounds in as well. So I was going to read you guys the calendar, I believe. I had forgotten, and if we do have the calendar still moving forward, I don't think we do. Yeah, by the looks of it, it has actually disappeared. Then we had the calendar, but oh, it's there. All right, it's got a different emoji to it. So now Las Vegas, a sprint race, 2 sprints, one we have right now, and exactly a month later, or a couple of days, on 21st of March, we will have another sprint, which will be at Sao Paulo. In Interlagos at Brazil. So moving forward, it'll be Monza next week's a race at the Italian Grand Prix. Then we'll move over to Barcelona di Catalonia in round 7. Monaco would be an interesting thing to watch, considering Jeddah was a chaos as a street circuit. Many cars we lost and drivers during that race. Similar case seems to be here at Vegas as well, so it'll be interesting to see what that happens around Monaco, but then Interlagos, and then we'll move over to Yas Marina Circuit in Abu Dhabi to end the season. So it's now on lap 6 out of lap 9. Our leader is going to be heading towards lap 7 now. Last couple of laps before the end of this sprint. And he looks clear and looks easy to grab a couple of sprint points and also start on pole in that main race with Scooter in P2, but he's over 13.1 seconds behind him, while Seppi's also 4.8 seconds behind Scooter, with Reaper on 9.6 seconds behind Seppi in P4, and Rex decided to pit, and I'd assume he would have needed to pit anyways, because those soft tires were not going to be a good choice at all. They were definitely a terrible choice, to say the least. For a 9 lap I mean, there's nothing wrong, but the soft tires just do not last you long enough at all for a 50%, or let's say, sure, it's 9 laps of racing, but still that soft tire on F125 is not good at all. On F125, that soft tire is it's almost just used for qualifying pretty much. I think sometimes you'd see drivers use it at probably the ending parts of the race, or last couple of laps in a race, when the last couple of laps during a race are remaining, but not a lot of the times you'd see drivers use it at all, because it's pretty much, even if you take care of it, the maximum it's going to last you will be 6 to 7 laps. That too, it's going to be out of grip pretty much. 6 or 7 laps aren't a lot if you're looking for a tire and deciding to pit. So it'll be on as now lap 7 out of 9, and as soon as the leader's on lap 8, it'll be the final lap of the Grand Prix. So final lap of this sprint, sorry, with the Jeep Grand main race, the main Grand Prix later on. So it's out and about now, moving forward. So Felix looks strong to take with sprint win, with Scooter in P2, followed by Seppi in P3. Reaper is in P4. He's had a decent race, actually, as compared to a lot of the other drivers. Usually we see him make a couple of mistakes, but he's got a very good race. He's done a pretty decent race out there, with Rex in P5. And then oh, as we just say that, the commentator's curse nearly attacks them, as we were just about, they haven't made a mistake or done anything extraordinary. They nearly avoid the walls by taking the runoff area. Well done by them to quick thinking from them there. Otherwise, they could have potentially ended up being in the wall. So well done to Reaper there to take that runoff area. So Commander in P5. And you know that it is out and about. Ferrucchi in P6, Simpish in P7, obviously out of the sprint, with Speedor, Zlara, Dree, all 5 drivers who we've lost so far. And interestingly, you'd think that Scooter is slightly Felix has slightly lost the time to Scooter, which was almost 14 seconds, is now 13.1 second, 13.2. I mean, right now he doesn't really care about that, does he? So he knows that he's in clear air. Even if he goes a little bit off, he takes a run of area. He's still going to be having enough time to get back on track and still be in P1. So he's going to be a lot easier. He's going to be a lot, calmer in that sense. And now the final lap has started. The final round around Vegas has started for Felix before the end of the sprint, and we move to the main Grand Prix, and he's going to be having up his head high with a lot of his rivals. Simpish, Uzlara, Veruki, with Scooter over 13 seconds behind. You know that he's going to be smiling under that helmet. Also, not to forget, kudos to all those who are on road to finish as well, because those who didn't certainly will be looking to do better in the main race, and we certainly have the top 5 for this one. And out and about, well done to Seppi, who nearly started in the top 3, and he's still in P3, so that's well done to him as well. To keep it throughout the race on the track and not to make any major mistakes at all. Let's say that Veruki, Speeder, Uzlara, Tree, those the drivers you would compare to him. So well done to him, and well done to the man on screen. It is going to be Felix, who's going to be just taking the final corner now up to the finish line to win the sprint here in the last streets of Las Vegas. And now it is going to be Scooter. He had a couple of moments, even got tagged from behind. Still going to be ending up in P2 to make it a Felix Scooter 1-2. And takes P2 here in the sprint in Vegas. Seppi is your driver, who you would have thought has done a brilliant job, but despite losing a position with out and about in P3 here in the sprint, despite a 10-second time penalty to his name, Reaper is going to finish over 12.5 seconds to the next car, so that will not affect his penalty at all, and he'll still be in P4. As that gap, which was over 12 seconds while we were talking about Reaper coming over the line, that is now over 20 seconds, with Commander X being your final driver to come on to finish the sprint race here at Vegas. Despite that, he's going to be starting in P5, that main race, and well done to our sprint drivers. Well done to everybody around. And those who didn't finish would probably get their chance, would get their opportunity to make it again. As this are going to be your sprint results then. Felix in P1, Scooter in P2, Seppi in P3, followed by Reaper in P4, Rex in P5, and then Veruki, Simpish, Speedo, Uzlara, and Dree all out of this sprint. And now moving forward, we'll be out and about. So as soon as the grid is ready, as soon as the grid for the main race is on, we'll be on to racing. We'll get on to go racing here once more for the main race, which will be 25 laps around Las Vegas, and I'm hoping for that. It's gonna be easy. Now we hope that nobody starts, as drivers have been given the instructions of do not press start, as the grid needs to be adjusted while everybody has left the session. I believe everybody was told to not leave the session, but it's gonna be interesting. Yep, it says please do not leave the lobby once the sprint race finishes. So eventually they've decided to leave, while probably our host would have left as well. So maybe we are getting another lobby, I guess, while everybody is leaving. So maybe we leave as well, by the looks of it, as we're gonna get this written, quit, and then I'm gonna, yep, so invites, new invites are gonna be on So as soon as grid is ready, as soon as we're ready to go once more, and for 25 laps around the streets of Las Vegas, we'll be back. There we go. We are finally in the session, as eventually we had to do a lobby restart, and the game decided to give me a couple of errors. The error a couple of times. It just said failed to join, and then eventually it does let me in the session. And finally, we're now ready, and I'm hoping that only in a couple of minutes, as soon as the grid is ready, as everybody is set up to their original grid spots, to their spot where they should be starting and driving for the next 25 laps moving forward. They'll be ready to go. It's now only 20 seconds before we're on, and we have our racing on. There we go, 9 laps of the sprint. What do you make up of this sprint, ladies and gentlemen? Only 5 finished out of the 10 drivers, and remember the chaos we had in Saudi when we lost. We're at a street circuit, so street circuits aren't really the tracks that these drivers are liking. So definitely circuits that drivers don't like. So Las Vegas maybe not as hard as Saudi, but still the walls are ever closer. Other than any usual Formula One circuit out there. Who you supporting for the night? Is it going to be Felix? Is it going to be Simpish? Commander? Even Scooter finished in P2 and second to Felix out there. Everybody's got an equal chance here. I mean, 25 laps, so you'd eventually say, okay, Felix looks pretty strong, but those who couldn't finish will definitely challenge him now, especially like Simpish. And a couple of others in that, and let's hopefully hope that it's going to be smooth and okay now, as turn 1 previously was decent, but drivers trying to fight each other, drivers trying to go will to will, ended up making contact, ended up colliding with each other. So now this is going to be very crucial for all of them out there, with 25 now minutes remain. Sorry, not 25 minutes, 25 laps. It will eventually remain, and we'll get a chance. As let's hope that we're going to be starting in a little bit, but also not quick enough. So drivers, get their tires, get their sit-ups and strategies ready. And we didn't get the message of readying up. So interesting to see what everybody has to say, unless we did get. So interesting. Hoping that everybody's got their tires, got their strategy right. Everything's on now. Our grid is ready out there, as it was at the end of that sprint. The very first driver to be out of this race will start out of the sprint. Will start in P10, Zara in P9, with Speeder in P8, Simpish down in P7, but he can always cover up with Feruki in P6, followed by Commander X in P5. Reaper is in P4, then it's Seppi in P3. A pretty decent finish in that sprint for him as well, followed by Scooter, who finished second, to Felix in P1. So as it was, as everybody started on that medium compound tire, apart from one single driver, now even that driver is starting on that set of that set of medium compound tire as well. So well done to them. To acknowledge, I mean, it's not even acknowledging, it's about, you know, I was about to say well done to them for acknowledging that medium tire is a tire, but obviously now, as I was saying, I think 25 laps of racing, the medium tire being able to do easy 9 laps on it, so one stop will be on our way, unless there's a safety car, unless drivers are needed to be pitting. Let's say, you know, there's a safety car at lap 8, lap 5, lap 4, or lap 5. If a couple of them are deciding to pit, they'll eventually need to pit, and then later on. So it's on, as we're about to get to the end of the formation lap, with Uslar already out of this formation lap, disqualified, and that means they will have cold tires on their car, while everybody is going to be on. Only 10 drivers here, so usually Vegas start, and the grid spots nearly have you start during a turn, but everybody will be managed to start it. Will manage to start on there. And then what? How far away is Dre from their grid spot? They've parked in an absolutely not good way, and the 5 red lights are this time going on pretty quick as we're on. The 5 red lights are out, and they're for hell for a little bit long once again. It's going to be a pretty good start for Felix, a decent start for Scooter, but Seppi around the outside has got a rapid start while Scooter's down the inside, and Seppi goes absolutely wide. That's going to be allowing Reaper to get past him. He nearly does get past him, but he isn't able to do that. While Commander X is going to be on the inside. Speeder is going to be around the outside, and he's going to lose a bit of positions. Feruki's lost of positions, and Simpish is down in P10. Simpish here has not got off the line pretty nice and easy as he finds himself in P10 after starting in P7, while already is Feruki in the wall. It's the same wall, I believe, over the first 2 drivers we lost in that sprint, while Simpish will get that position. No, and he's now going to nearly going to the back of Simpish there. Simpish is going to give him the position back, but already the chaos we would have thought will be at least not much in the main race seems to continue, while there's going to be Speeder and Dree going side by side. Scooter does get past Dree, or does he though? Because Dree's going to come back at him now. He's going to send it on the inside lane. They'll be will to will, nearly avoids making contact with Speeder there, and well done to Speeder to keep it out of the wall as well. While moving forward, Reaper's now going to be only 1/10.5 behind Seppi, while the whole straight is now remaining, and they're going to be with both of them having no DRS, not available on lap 1, and there's now going to be an opportunity for Seppi to come back at him. You would have maybe thought he's going to go for it, but no, he just about shows enough patience to not make out of a chaos, while Felix is already 1 second ahead of Scooter. Maybe Scooter will be catching him up very soon. While we're going to be on, and the opportunity, as I said, is going to be Commander X, who's going to be on the inside line into it, and one nearly gets past him, and he's going to run a little bit wide, and Speeder's going to swoop past him around the outside. The switcheroo is almost going to be on the way, but he can't quite become successful in Orvilli, though, because they're still wheel to wheel, they're still side by side. The action continues on. Who's going to be later on the brakes? Now into the right-hander. Is he going to be Commander? Is he going to be Speeder? Speeder around the outside. Nearly they make contact, and they do eventually make contact. But well done with how close the walls were to them. They did avoid a pretty hefty collision, while now Speeder is already going to be on his way to get past Seppi, and he's rapidly making those moves, and he gives it up by making contact with the wall. Slightly tap on the wall, maybe we just saw that as a bug, while Scooter is now 8/10 behind Felix, and with that moving up to that next DRS straight, opportunities are going to be there as well. Dree is going to be on Sepp. He's lost out position, and as good as his sprint was, he's losing out these positions here in this race, while Seppi's in P6 with Dree in P7. Losing out as well, Commander in P5. What about Scooter? Is he going to be getting closer to Felix? And as close as they are, and how long these straight are around Vegas, opportunity is going to be always there for him, while we see a driver going pretty slow. Reaper in P3 with the Speeder in P4, almost in a race of his own. 2 seconds behind Cap Reaper, with Commander X 1.7 seconds behind him as well, along with Seppi, who's now 6/10 behind Rex, while Dree is in 8/10 behind him as well. Simpish 8.6 seconds in a race of his own so far, while he's 6.3 seconds ahead of the next car, but eventually, by the looks of it, there. Ooh, that was a moment by the looks of it in the final, in the exit of the final corner. Now, Feruki is on 29 seconds behind, and on brand new set of hard medium tires, so that would eventually only suggest that they're doing a good job, but also they've pitted again, and eventually they're far behind as compared to others. But I think their focus would not be that right now, rather would just be to finish this race. And once more, the opportunity for overtakes is going to be on, while we have Rex, Seppi within 1 second of each other, along with Dree. 2/10 off Seppi there, and Dree's going to be on the inside line. He's going to send the move over him a long way back. He does send it. They're going to be making contact, and Seppi avoids the wall. That is
pretty much well done to him. Was nearly ghosted, I believe, I'd say. While the top two are going to be on as well. Scooter does once again get closer to Felix, but Felix has got his battery charge. He's got his battery power on. And he's using all of that to change. He's using all of that to defend, which eventually is working out for him. And it indeed has worked out for him in the first 3 laps. But now he's ever closer. Scooter is ever closer to Felix. And a possible chance for the race lead is going to be on. A move coming forward for Felix to be on soon. You'd suggest that there will be out while 5-10 still separating the two. DRS still available on Scooter's car, but he's just unable to gain on Felix, who's using his batteries. He's got a lot of as well, so he's pretty much using it very smartly right now, because battery management is very crucial around here, especially on a straight on that second DRS zone, which is pretty crucial to catch on. It's almost like Imola. I think Imola's straight is overpowered. I'd say the DRS around Imola, but this straight, it doesn't have the straight. It doesn't have pretty much DRS for even more than half of it, but still, it's very powerful. Even that slipstream could get you ways around there, while Seppi seems to have lost out of that 1 second to Dre, while Dre's now going to be on, and he's within 1 second, rather within half a second of Commander. Commander will get the chance once more. He's going to nearly send it on the inside line. Ooh, that was an interesting move and an interesting bit of intent, I'd say, from Dre, because for a moment you thought he was going to go for it, which eventually he didn't, which I'd say it was a right choice, but right now he doesn't care about that. Even before the DRS gets enabled, Dre's going to be on. They'll be side by side, but way before the braking zone, he's passed him already, and Commander's going to have to lose out on that place. He's going to send it on the inside for a moment. You'd have thought he's still going to stick it around there and not to back out. While Seppi's now within half a second as well, heading towards turn 1. It's going to be anybody's chance while Commander defended. Commander lost to Dre. He's now going to have to defend to Seppi, and he's unable to do that into the final corner. Seppi does get past him and into P6. The move's going to be on, but he runs a little bit wide, and that'll easily allow Rex to get past him. Nice and easy, while Simpish is also 4.8 seconds behind these guys as well, so they're fighting each other. That has allowed Simpish to get closer, allowed Simpish to make all that progress, which otherwise would have been pretty not easy for him. Eventually has become decent with these guys fighting each other, losing us a good amount of time, while Dre is now 8/10 to Commander X, but as soon as that DRS gets enabled, as soon as that rearing is open, or even if you don't get that rearing open, straights around here are pretty good. The slipstream around here is absolutely a lot, and that eventually gives you an idea and an opportunity for drivers to be making overtakes and staying relevant, but then also making overtakes as well. Now, as close as Seppi is to the car ahead, his opportunity will be coming soon. Scooter's got the fastest lap, 1:34.841, while already as the DRS now gets enabled on Seppi's car with the rearing opening on both the cars. Still Seppi with that ERS, and that battery usage will be enough to get past Commander in towards the left end. He's right behind Dre now, but Commander X has not let him make the move. They're still side by side. They're going to make contact eventually, and I'd be surprised if Commander doesn't have that bit of damage on that rear front wing, because they were still side by side. Commander didn't back out of it at all. He did not back out of it. They're still going to be will to will. They nearly make contact as Seppi goes through Commander there, and he's going to go for the inside landing towards turn 1. Very wide goes Seppi there, and these guys, only 6 laps into the race, are showing some excellent intent, and I think excellent bit of aggressive driving, I'd say, right here, because 3 seconds penalty to Dre. Nobody else has got a penalty. Nobody has made a pit stop in this race apart from Ferruki. While we may talk about stops, let's get the gap to interval, not to the leader. While now Simpish, as we were talking about, is catching up to these guys sooner rather than later, and he's done it already, as now 5/10 the gap to Seppi is for Simpish, who was out of these guys' fight and a couple of seconds, few seconds behind them. But now, as it stands, he's in that fight. He's in that little circle of them fighting each other while Dree is pulled away now. 4.6 seconds to Commander. Seppi is also about just within a second, but that DRS has not been enabled just yet. That ERS, by the looks of it, on Simpish's car, pretty strong, along with that setup, which could play a role as well. Seppi, and now Commander will be in a bit of trouble, and Seppi gets past both of them, and Simpish now might try and get past both of them. Eventually will not, and Commander's going to send it on the inside line, and he was never going to be able to make that corner. He sent it from way back. And I'm surprised if he still doesn't have no front wing damage. He might have slowed down enough to make that move. And now heading to headstand one. Seppi's going to send it on the inside line of Seppi. Seppi might run a little bit wide. And we've lost the camera. But we'll be catching up back to the action. And Simpish has made it up back to P6. As Commander is now into the pits. And as I said, front wing would have been damaged on his car. And it indeed is damaged. So they're going to be coming in to get a new one. And get a set of another medium tires, which is interesting. So I would have thought with the medium tires, being able to do over 9 laps in the sprint, would have thought, you know, you could stretch 2 more laps, then 10 to 11 laps on these medium tires, and could make it work as a one-stop, to simply a medium hard strategy. But by the looks of it, so far, it doesn't seem to be the case. At least in Commander's case, because he's put on another set of medium tire. That means he will need to use another tire compound later on in this race, while Simpish has now made over 2.6 seconds on Seppi as well. So that, you ladies and gentlemen, progress is on. And Scooter at the start of the race was rapidly catching up. Within 1 second of Felix, and catching up to Felix was Scooter, but eventually lost out, and now that gap sits at 4.6 seconds as well. Now 2.4 seconds, 2.5 seconds between Simpish and Seppi out there, but for how long will that be the case, and for how long are we gonna have a bit of eventual, a bit of, I won't say boring thing, but it's kind of a sitting duck, along with us. Drivers are eventually just going to be doing their races, get past, and I think as soon as those pit stops are out of the way, which I personally would have believed would be a one-stop, but let's see what's going to be happening. You never know, though. I mean, sometimes drivers make a one-stop, a two-stop, sometimes 2 stops. They'll be making it a one-stop race, so eventually anything could happen, and anything is possible, especially here around Vegas. And on a circuit like Vegas, or any street circuit particularly, you'd say that drivers probably pit most of the time because of that front wing, more than that tire. Let's say in Commander's case, his front wing was damaged, and same would have went for Ferrucchi as well. He had to pit very early, almost at the start of the race. So that also was only because of that front wing being damaged. So that eventually, that's what they're going to be out on with now in a lap 9 out of 25, as it'll be at the end of we'll be halfway done through in this race soon. Not halfway done yet. Everybody else has pretty much been going, though, apart from those who have had to pit. Now it looks pretty neutralized so far, the race. 5.3 seconds from Felix to Scooter, 13.5 to Reaper behind of Scooter. Speeder is 5.8 seconds, with 7.8 is Dree in P5. Simpish 3 seconds to Dree, and definitely if anybody's to catch up to one another, I think it's going to be Simpish trying to catch up to Seppi. He's a championship leader. He still leads the championship. They've had a couple of strong races from Felix the last few rounds. Still Simpish leads by 3 points or so. I believe he's on 61 and Felix is on 58, at least coming into this race. Obviously those sprint no points in the sprint for Simpish would and a victory here for Felix would simply mean that that lead will be switching up today. That lead will be moving from Simpish leading the championship to Felix taking over the lead of the Drivers' Championship. And now on it is Felix, who's now into the pits as well. 9 laps on these medium tires, so exactly the same amount of laps done on in that sprint. So I think it's not that it's hard or it's like they can't do, let's say, you know, a 2-stop race in here, but you know, simply even if they go in for a hard tire, you know, set of hard tires, if they are not to go to the end of this race, but they're only supposed to still to make it a 1-stop, even if they are only going to do 10 laps on these tires, there'll be 5 laps in the end remaining. So it's just that case of when are you going to pit? When are you going to find that window? So to make it a 2-stop, it's just hard to find a pit stop window in terms of you don't lose time, or even if you do, then you won't be able to make it. You know, let's say if somebody pits on lap 20 or lap 21, even if they go into a set of soft tires, let's say they have a car in front with the gap of over a second or over 2 seconds, trying to make those, or you know, 3 or 4 seconds, despite being on a brand new tire, would be very difficult in the remaining laps. Even if you've got the pace and speed, you'd run out of laps. So a lot would, you know, it would be very difficult trying to work it out, trying to, you know, get it to be the best, whilst Reaper is in P6 now, and Seppi 1.9 seconds behind him. He's on those old tires, though. So drivers having pitted in this race are, let's have a look at the penalties, actually 10 seconds to Rex and Lara by the looks of it, with Seppi and Tree with 3 seconds each. So stops in this race. Felix has made a stop along with Reaper in P6. And has made a stop as well. Then Simpish hasn't made a stop, while Commander X, Uzlara, and Ferruki all have made a mandatory pit stop. But definitely Ferruki is going to have to pit again. He's done 8 laps on those medium tires, so it's not going to be too long before he comes into the pits as well. While Seppi 1.8 seconds to Reaper now. I think it'll be interesting to see if Seppi's actually gaining on Reaper despite being on older tires. But by the looks of it, he's just slowing down, and those medium tires are obviously now going to be feeling the best, but considering that our race leader has decided to pit onto a set of hard tires pretty early, would say a lot. But let's say, I think it depends from driver to driver as well, right? It doesn't matter if somebody's faster or somebody's very fast, that they'll have the ability to manage their tires, you know, the best, or somebody who's at the bottom wouldn't be the case that they're not able to, they don't know how to manage their tires. Maybe they know better to manage their tires than somebody in the top of the timings. While we're going to be switching up moves and seeing positions getting changed despite being on older tires, while we're focused on Seppi closer to Reaper, it is going to be Simpish who makes it up. Or maybe it wouldn't have been Simpish making up his way, it would have been Reaper who gets past Simpish there on those brand new tires, as our race leader Scooter is now into the pits, and that lead will go over to Felix, as now it'll be the chance and time to see where the speeder comes in. Yes, he does. 11 laps on these medium compound tires. Well done to them as well. While Dree is in as well. Simpish has decided to come in as well, and Reaper goes back to P3. Yeah, pretty much it's going back to its original positions. Is this race with Simpish, not Simpish, sorry, Reaper in P3, with Scooter in P2, and Speeder in P4, while Dree is in P5. And has he made contact there on the exit of the pit wall? Slightly looked like he was closer to the wall, so not sure what happened there, but he might have, he might not have. While it's going to be Uzlara and Commander X. Lara was coming right behind, and he's got no front wing end plate on the right-hand side, despite pitting. Having pitted already 3 laps on these, being on these 3-lap older tires, it would have been interesting to see, and I think that looks of it, they've managed to take the wall, or at least make contact with the wall despite being out of it. While we talk about front wings, Rex, remember, had to pit early because of having no front wing, or damaging their wing earlier on in this race. Now they've done 5 laps on these mediums. They're on their 6th lap on these tires, though. 4 more laps maximum, I'd say. 10 laps on these mediums, or 11. Then they could decide to come into the pits. And now, let's say, in a situation like Commander X, you know, had he opted for a set of hard tires earlier on, he could have easily, if not more, would have went for a medium-hard medium or medium-hard soft. Now he has no choice. If he puts on a set of hard tires, he's probably going to be quite slower than those around him, or maybe won't be, because actually everybody else will also be on those hards. But then, as we're talking about, you know, he has to put a different set of tires earlier. Oh, that's going to be... that was pretty close for Oslar. What I'm trying to say is he won't be slow, but had he went for a soft, medium, hard, medium, it would have been a little bit better with drivers around it. But now he's going to be on that same strategy, and he's probably going to have a couple of laps tire deficit. But in a 25 lap race, as I said earlier, that it just won't be enough time for him to gain back that progress, gain back those positions, which you would have thought he'll be able to make with that tire deficit or performance. While we're in, Oslara is now in P9. Ooh, Commander Rex is still chilling out at the front, while the only drivers within a second of each other by the looks of it. Finally gonna be in. Apologies about that. A lot of the action would have been missed right by us, but I'm hoping we're going to catch up with everything. We're going to catch up with all we've got left, and everything there's left around. We'll make sure to make the most of it. We'll make sure to make the most of it out there, because eventually it wasn't a good sign that we lost that. We're now back in, and we're back in the action at the race, as Felix still leads ahead of everyone. Lap 29, lap 19 out of 25 there. As right here out of 25, everybody on a set of hard compound tire, apart from Islara, who's on a set of mediums. And now looking at those penalties, 13 seconds to Dre with 20 seconds to Islara, while Seppi and Speeder on a 3-second time penalty. Everybody's made it one stop apart from Rex, Ferruki, and Islara. All these guys have made 2 stops right here. Well, we would have been looking for action, and any action we'd be looking to watch moving forward. It is going to be, and it is Simpish, who's right on as he nearly loses the car as we catch up back to Simpish on action. He's trying to get past Dree there. He's trying to get past. He's trying to make an overtake to make it work for the best of him, for the best of his Drivers' Championship. Remember, he lost out points in the sprint with him not being able to finish, with him not being able to do anything in there at all. And all right, I'm hoping that audio will be fine as well, because there's going to be an opportunity, as audio was there. So let me actually see if I'm hoping that game audio is there, as Dre Spampish is now going to get past him. Apologies everybody, we had to do a bit of a quick things here, so hopefully everything is going to be fine. That is brilliant. Everything is okay. As now Dre does get past, sorry, Simpish gets past Dre, and the overtake is done, but both of them are on same amount of tires, same amount of laps on those compound, as Dre's going to send it on the inside line. He had all the intentions to get past him, but he's just unable to make the move. He's unable to get it done right there. He'll get another opportunity with the rearing opening on his car into the right hand corner. It's going to be Simpish who'll have to defend. I don't think he'll be close enough to be making that lunge on the inside, lunge down the inside. Dre right there, but a straight coming up ahead, and that second DRS zone, second DRS straight is the corner where all the time we see drivers getting close to one another. Drivers making the most of that slipstream. I think it'll be the place where another opportunity will pop up, another chance will pop up for an overtake by either of them or another. Simpish is now going to be looking to move forward. He's going to look to move away. Remember, Dre's got 13 seconds of penalty, so pretty much if Dre finishes even ahead of Simpish, he's not going to be getting that point. But Speedo's got 3 seconds, I believe. Yes, he's got 3 seconds. So by the looks of it, Simpish at least will not be getting affected by that right now. Rather, Speedo by that, Simpish coming behind him, unless he catches him by within 3 seconds. Over 13 seconds he's ahead of him, so it'll be very difficult in the remaining laps for him to do, while Felix is leading up by over 12.2 seconds, and Scooter in P2, 9 laps on those hard tyres, but still Felix is at the top and looking comfortable more than ever. While Gap Reaper is in P3 as well, no penalty, so he's doing a pretty good job and pretty much chilling out there with Speedo in P4 in a race of his own as well. Well, Simpish is in P5, and 1.2 seconds is Dree right behind Simpish. Well, Simpish now may be looking to move away from Dree, but Kenny though, because any slight movement, any slight issues, any slight problems from Simpish, a little bit of a mistake from Simpish, anything that gets to him, anything that could potentially get to him would directly see an overtake, directly see a move coming up, and Dree get past Simpish here, but by the looks of it, he's looking pretty comfortable, and he's looking only one up ahead to move away and move forward right there. So that's interesting, but he's looking to move forward, and he's doing the job at least so far. So out and about now. 1.9 seconds to them. Commander is also 2.4 seconds to Ferruki. Islara is over 3-lap all mediums, but as I said earlier, that even if you're going to have new tires, you'd not have enough laps to catch up. Now he's got 9 seconds. Even if he's going to gain 3 seconds each lap on Commander, he'd still have about 7 tenths, and that catching up is one thing, but overtaking is another, so it's not easy at all. As we talk about easy, it is Simpish who's got a 3-second time penalty as well. He's pretty much going to be clear of Dree, along with Seppi, who's 11 seconds behind him, so he wouldn't need to worry about it. But those penalties have striked 5 out of the 10 drivers, and actually, one thing we didn't talk about is all 10 of them are still running in this race. So that is an absolute brilliant sight to see, honestly, with while we lost early 5 in that sprint race, everybody has taken care and done a pretty decent job, pretty nice job to keep it and be in this race with them. Lap 23 out of 25. Felix leads ahead of Scooter, and he looks pretty much stable so far. So does Scooter, who's all about, he's about 33 seconds ahead of Scooter there, and Scooter is 33 seconds ahead of Gap Reaper. So Felix has got the fastest lap, and that fastest lap point is counting, and if that point is counting, or even if it's not, to just get a fastest lap, to just have a little bit of fun to the end of the Grand Prix, he could possibly pit, because 34 seconds is more than enough to give Scooter a free pit stop here. So let's say a stop to get him to the to the end of the Grand Prix, or let's say Scooter, he's nearly to the end of the lap, while Reaper is now going on to that second DRS straight as he makes a slight bit of a mistake, narrowly avoiding the wall, narrowly getting away from that wall ahead of him, and eventually these are the mistakes, these are the issues. I mean, it wasn't a major mistake, so he simply ran a little bit wide, but I think that's even going to help Scooter gain a little bit more of a time, and if he's looking to move and get a pit and probably go and get himself now on a set of soft tires or get a fastest lap at the end, it's a golden opportunity so far here. So unless he doesn't want to, I mean, I remember back in Formula 1, I don't remember what year it was 23 or 2022 or 2023, in F1, or even could be 24, but it was when Ferrari pitted Charles Leclerc to get a fastest lap, while he didn't even get the fastest lap and he was overtaken as well. So sometimes eventually those things do happen. While we talk about that, Commander is catching up to Ferrucchi, 1.3 seconds between the two drivers as it stands, but as not much time is remaining. You'll need to probably get him within 1 second of that on that DRS straight coming up ahead, but it's over 1.6 seconds, and now slight bit of a movement and mistake felt like by Commander X as he ran a little bit wide, and that'll allow Ferrucchi to pull away, and eventually is pulling away out there, while our race leader has now finally moved up and into the Grand Prix, moved up into the lead of the Grand Prix. So brilliantly done by oh no, not the lead of the Grand Prix, sorry, he's already into the lead, but into the into the final lap of the race, I should say, because he's done more than enough, I think, to take this victory and to have a great race right here. And he's done a brilliant job the last couple of races. He's been very consistent, to say the least. Simpish sure had a good start, but you know, recent races haven't been the best from him. Haven't been the best for him, to say the least. So it's a good one to look at. You know, that's consistency is key, and consistency is what could win or lose you races, could win or lose you championships. And I think it's pretty good for a first race, for him, for not a first race, sorry, for first championship, obviously, here at Cockpit Drivers Championship. It's a good work from all of these drivers. No matter where they're going to be finishing. While we talk about finishing, it is going to be Felix who is about to finish. And the man who won the sprint is going to be the man who's going to win the Las Vegas GP and takes victory over 12.6 seconds ahead of the next car. But who also will be finishing up in second place over almost 39 seconds ahead in the car behind him. And absolutely well done to Scooter as well, finishing in second best, but way better than P3. While before Reaper taking the checkered flag, it will be Commander X. Ahead of him will be Ferrucchi, who's going to take the checkered flag. Commander X and Uzlara. All these drivers coming up in P8 and 9, while along with Uzlara in P10. Many are now taking up to that checkered flag. By the looks of it, Ferrucchi still stays and keeps up his position. And it will be Gap Reaper, who's going to finish up over 41 seconds behind Scooter, but in P3, a podium finish nonetheless. But let's not forget, he's also finishing over 14 seconds ahead of the next car. So almost everybody was showing one another what they can do. And it was like, I'm not better than the car in front, but I'm better than you, Mr. Behind. Speeder is in P4, who's also going to finish over 9.9 seconds behind Simpish, who was leading the championship coming into this race. But Felix now will also, with this sprint win and the race win, take the championship lead as well. With Dree in P6, followed by Seppi, who's going to be the final car to take the checkered flag and take 7th place. And that's going to be the end of it, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies about a bit of issues we had, but well done to everybody, and we are in. And let's just say that brilliant driving from Felix and everybody around, but also not to forget, let's appreciate everybody. Despite a chaotic start to the sprint, we did not lose any driver, and that is Felix jumping around with the trophy. And why shouldn't he be? He's absolutely having a dominant performance right here. So these are going to be your results, ladies and gentlemen, for the end of the Grand Prix here at Las Vegas. it's going to be Felix who wins ahead of Scooter in P2, followed by Reaper in P3. Well done podium for Gap Reaper as well by Speeder. It might be a season best result for him in P4. Simpish is in P5, followed by Seppi in P6. Dre in P7, despite starting last place with Feruki, who lost up positions, but still down in P8. Commander X having a pit early, different strategies, ends up in P9 with Uzlara in P10. So everybody finished. Congratulations, you'd have to say, and well done to everybody. And once again, guys, it's going to be brilliant job to everybody. That's pretty much is going to be the end of it. It was myself, Zappy, and from bringing you guys all the action here at Cockpit Drivers Championship. This is going to be the end here at the Las Vegas GP. Hope you all watching enjoyed it. And from all of us here at CDC, that's going to be the end of it. Bye-bye. See you next week. Adios.